Yeah, so that's Fempower Network. So it's a global community of women who come together or who have come together for the sole purpose of finding themselves by finding their purpose, knowing their purpose, and working towards living and thriving in their purpose. So we do this through three main pillars. So one of the pillars is personal and professional development programs. The second pillar is through mentorship opportunities, and the third one is networking. So having networking opportunities. So today's session is a mix of some of these pillars. So obviously for the personal and professional aspect, we need to understand how to manage our emotional and mental health. And also, this is an area for us or a session for us to network, get to know even the speaker of the day, and hopefully he can support you even in the future because what we believe in Fempower Network is continuity. So we are not just doing this for the sake of doing it. We want women to obviously learn how to manage their health and wellness. So around with an emphasis of emotional and mental health. But then after the session, if you find that there are some areas that you still need to have a conversation with our guest today, and I'll get to introduce him, you can actually reach out to him. So we put this session together. It's a live session that we've put together in line with the event that we are going to be having on the 14th of September. So on the 14th of September, we have a health and wellness event, and it will be happening from 10 to 4 p.m. So I have shared the flyer or the poster on the screen. So from 10 to 4 p.m. with one of our partners, NTMC Dai, and they are located in Karen. And we have put together a very elaborate day for women to learn how to manage their emotional and mental health. So some of the activities that we'll be having will be self-care activities. So for the self-care activities, we'll have relaxing activities. So in the spa, so mini massages, mini reflexologies, and many others. We'll have health and wellness talks, and one of our guest speakers will be actually our guest today, who's sharing with us the topic of the day. And then we'll have wellness assessment. So there'll be a form that will be shared where a healthcare practitioner will actually look at some of the areas that you would have answered on that form to see where you are in your journey of health and wellness, and they would advise or will advise accordingly. We'll also have a few health activities. We'll do some Zumba, breath work, and many other activities that will definitely be fit for that particular day. And lastly, we'll have one-on-one therapy session. So we'll have a number of therapists who will join us for this particular event, and they will be able to talk to you one-on-one about some of the emotional or mental health concerns that you might have. So we are creating a safe space for women to come together and have this conversation, because we all know that this conversation is still not as open as it needs to be. And we understand that because there are some elements or there are some areas that are still very sensitive. And even for today's session, we definitely want to assure you that this is a safe space. In case you have any question around your emotional or mental health or anything that the guest speaker will speak about, you can reach out to him directly. But this is a safe space. So this is the event. It will happen on the 14th of September. So please mark your calendars. And in terms of how much it will cost, it's obviously we are giving a lot of value at a very reasonable rate. So for individuals without self-care activities, so the mini spa activities that I mentioned, it will be 5,000 per person. Then with the mini spa activities, it will be 7,000 per person. And then for a group of 5 people, we have a package of 30,000. So, I mean, as I said, this is value that we are offering. So, I mean, there's a lot more in store on that day. And definitely with this package, there's lunch and refreshments. And if you've been to NTMC Die, you know the kind of value they give. That space is such a relaxing space. There's a forest all around. So there's a way you just feel relaxed when you get into that space. So I hope all of you will join us on that day, but I don't want to talk about the event today. Today is all about managing our emotional and mental health, understanding our emotions, our emotional triggers, and we'll definitely have a lot of conversations around that today. So with that being said, I want to introduce the speaker of today. Dr. Moses Macharia. Let me just read his bio so that I get everything right and I don't, make him something that he's not. So let me just read his bio, a short bio. He's a seasoned psychologist with a passion for transforming workplaces by creating superstar employees. I love that. Through comprehensive employee wellness programs, with close to a decade of experience, Dr. Macharia specializes in trauma recovery and mental health coaching, helping individuals and organizations thrive by addressing mental health challenges and promoting resilience. So he does this through tailored interventions and evidence-based strategies. So he definitely knows what he's doing, and he has successfully guided numerous teams to peak performance, fostering a culture of well-being and excellence. And his work is dedicated to enhancing employee potential and driving sustainable organizational success. So that's our guest speaker for today, Dr. Moses Macharia. So he's a therapist. So as I mentioned, this is a safe space. So in case you want to send him a question directly, please feel free to do so. So Dr. Macharia, you are very much welcome. I can't see you on the screen, but
thank you. I'm here.
yeah. Oh,
You see me
perfect.
now?
Awesome. Welcome.
There you go.
I will hand it over to you. Thank you.
Asante sana. Thank you so much, Rael, for the beautiful introduction. And everybody, it's such a lovely experience being here with you, having heard a lot about Fem Power. And it's beautiful spending this evening portion today discussing on matters around emotions. And I was looking for a word that rhymes, so I actually coined it emotion in motion. And just a brief story of what has happened to us this evening as we were trying to, come together for preparation, and my computer crashed. So I have experienced an array of emotions this evening. And here's a fun fact for each and every one of us. On a scale of 1 to 10, how many times do you think you as a person experience emotions? So you can fire it up on the chats. How many times do you experience emotion in any given day? Right, 10. Interesting. Ryle says 10. 2 more people. 9, Ruth. Interesting. 6. Beautiful. So research has been done in this area, and this is why we need to address it. And it says that in any given day, you can experience up to 400 emotions. Research says that in any given day, they have narrowed it down to you can experience one consciously recognized emotion per day, right? And so you keep wondering, 400 emotions. Are there some of the emotions that we have no idea about? I think so, yes. And maybe we should explore a bit more on this in some coming up sessions. But a gentleman called Paul Ekman has a theory of the basic emotions, and he suggests 6 emotions, which we are all conversant with. The first one being happiness, sadness, number 2, fear, anger, surprise, and disgust. Out of all these that I've mentioned, that is happiness, sadness, fear, anger, surprise, disgust, which one do you think we experience the most? So what we actually experience the most is anger. Yeah, let me pause for a minute and ask, how many of us have gotten angry today? I'll start raising my hand because I have just a few minutes ago. While disgust is actually the least. When we look to the human being and the composition of us as human beings, all emotions are rooted in 2, I would call them root emotions, or they stem out of 2 places. They stem out of love or emanate out of fear. And we'll explore more on that. So allow me to direct us to the screen where here we go. Right. Can everyone see my screen? Ryle, can you see my screen? You can unmute and say yes.
Yep, I can.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right, so emotion in motion, discovering emotional balance. It is said that emotional responses depend on, a person's appraisal of a given situation. So if you think of a potential stressful stimuli, then you'll experience some negative emotions. So for example, put some context into this. You're feeling pressure, all right? You're feeling pressure due to a report that is due, let's say, the very beginning of next week. And when you look at that particular report, much hasn't been done. And therefore, due to time lapsing, you feel pressure. And by you feeling pressured, you start feeling stressful. And by you starting to feel stressful, then you might actually feel some rumbling in your stomach, some headache here and there, and you know how the list goes on. And this is basically what we will be unpacking today. And so I want us to do, I love activities, so I hope you guys are okay with that. Even if you don't have that social bandwidth, please, for tonight, bear with me, okay? So I want us to do an activity. And we all are conversant with emojis, right? And here I have 5 emojis. And I would love to know where you are at emotionally, right? Are you at 100% or are you at 0%? Your battery is dead, all right? So please throw me an emoji on the chat of how you are doing emotionally today. Beautiful. Can see your response, Stacy. One more person, an emoji. It's a safe space. Evelyn, I've seen yours. Thank you. Right. Ruth, I've seen your emoji. We may need to have a meeting after this. Peace, I've seen yours. One last one. Rael, where's your emoji?
I have put, kwani haijakuja?
Oh, sijaona pop up. Pole.
Let
Sawa.
me do it again. Yeah, on the chat.
All right. There we go. 75. All right. When we look to the definition of mental health, according to the National Health Service of the UK, they define it as the way we think and feel. And this summarizes various definitions that have been put out, including the very famous one that we know of, every one of us, the WHO one, which speaks about, people being able to live and cope up with the normal stresses of life, um, contribute to their societies. And what that quickly shows us is that in life, we are sort of in a continuum, moving up and down, and that emotions remain to be a key thing in our lives. From the statistics done and the few that I've shared, that as an individual, in any given day, given tomorrow, probably you'll be more consciously aware of this. You'll realize that you will experience emotions from the onset, from the minute that you wake up. We are fueled by emotions. And it's sometimes hard to attain this 100%, having that emoji that you're thriving, simply because we may experience a variety of emotions in any given day. And that sometimes the ones that we are more aware of, the experiences that we feel, especially around the area of happiness, the feel-good hormones, when they kick in and you realize, oh, I'm feeling really happy. I am happy that someone told me this morning that I look good. That's my smile is brightens this, the entire day. And those are some of the things that we take note. But on the other extreme of negative emotions, when we think about things like anger, when someone has just cut you in traffic, I think we are all conversant over how we always feel when someone cuts us in traffic or when someone is being unjust. And I know there's been a lot of injustice happening, and it triggers a sense of anger. And we are always aware of that. But also, from the early research, we've been told that there is more when it comes to emotions that sometimes we are not consciously aware about. Allow me to read for us a myth that is so popular. And it says that emotions are weaknesses that our strong, rational mind need to suppress. Now, as an African boy, one of the things that we were told was don't show emotions. For some of us here, we know this typical experience of, umechapwa na mzazi, alafu unaambiwa nyamaza, and you're conflicted inside because you're not really sure. You have balancing tears and you want to cry, but you can't cry. And so it sort of affirms this myth that emotions are weaknesses that our strong rational mind needs to suppress. But the truth is that your emotions are a very real part of you. And if out of this entire conversation today, you may forget everything, I want you to remember that your emotions are a very real part of you. And therefore, ignoring how something makes you feel will not make it go away. All right? And so you quickly realize that a lot of our emotional experiences and reactions aren't as a response to the present moment. As a therapist, I would say that they are a buildup of all the times that we were in a similar situation or in a similar dynamic and did not stand up for ourselves or use our voices or express our emotions. And so we see people reacting today to various things, to societal injustices. We see people reacting to how they are treated, but it comes as a response over a buildup, not just the present moment, but there is a buildup of you being in the same situation and you aren't able to voice out, being in the same situation and you aren't able to express your emotions. And that's why we see, some people say, I have been in this relationship, I have held it out, and today nimechoka. Yeah, something too small. For example, toothpaste, there are some who finger it from up, and there are these ones who finger it from down. Mostly it's us jamas and ladies, I'm so sorry on behalf of our gender. And we just came and fingered it up a Jew, and that day you snap. But it's a build-up. It's a build-up of the way I communicate. It's a build-up of the way, I have been failing constantly. It's a build-up. It's not something out of the present moment. And so emotions can be dangerous based on how you respond to them. Yes, ladies, I agree that your emotions are valid, but it's not permission to react to those emotions in any way you feel like. And so we quickly realize that we are all connected and words and actions have impact. So we have to use them carefully. Despite the anger that you feel when someone cuts you in traffic, do you get out and yell? In your career development, when someone is constantly pushing you down and the feedback that you give, they take it as their own, and this agitates you, do you react and, go and yell on their faces? Probably HR will come to you after that. I think there is importance for us to understand the power of our emotions, understanding the responsibility that we carry, understanding that emotions indeed is what makes us, but how we react to them may have damaging responses to the other who may be on the other receiving end. And so I think this debunks the myth that we have actually just seen, that your emotions are a real part of you. My encouragement for you this evening is do not ignore. And I pray that post this session, that you will actually sit back as we do a particular exercise, that you will sit back and actually stay in tune to your emotions. And so after talking all this, what is emotional well-being? I'm used to defining mental health, but emotional health refers to the overall well-being of an individual's emotion, thought, and ability to manage and express feelings in a balanced way. Two things strike out for me: management and expressing these feelings in a balanced way. It encompasses how well people cope with stress, maintain healthy relationships, and navigate the emotional aspects. We are social beings as human beings, and therefore maintaining healthy relationships at work, maintaining healthy teams mean a lot to us. And how do you navigate the various emotional aspects? For the leaders in the room today, how do you develop to be an emotionally intelligent leader? Because that's a marker of a true, remarkable leader who will make sustainable changes in the marketplace and create an environment where people thrive and feel heard. This is important. So how do you manage your emotions? How do you express your feelings in a balanced way? Part of this will unpack more by the 14th. I encourage us to actually come, and we will talk especially on the areas of expressing our feelings. How do you coin your words so that they have impact and get others to work alongside you rather than get pissed at you? These are true markers of an individual who is emotionally intelligent. And therefore, key things strike out, for example, mental health and emotions. So what are some of the mental health issues that trigger emotional, which are emotional triggers? I would quickly pick out 3, though there are more. From a mental health standpoint, issues such as anxiety, issues such as depression, stress, burnout, grief, or loss and grief, sort of trigger an emotional response. I know I haven't mentioned a lot, and I know there are therapists in the room, and I salute each and every one of you. But just to mention a few, from this, we are able to see that indeed there is a relationship between mental health and emotions. And as the National Health Service defined it, remember, it was the way we think and the way we feel. So thoughts and feeling have a key role to play. So when we look at anxiety, we see elements or emotional triggers such as fear, worry, panic, which sort of significantly disrupts daily functioning of an individual. And this strains personal relations. I see people struggling with anxiety, and it might come from a place of fear, yes, as I mentioned earlier, but it sort of kills the relational element of these people. And that's sad. So for example, that we have on our screen, a person with anxiety may overreact emotionally to a minor stressor, feeling intense worry, fear in situations which others can handle calmly. And you see what I was trying to explain earlier, that there is a sense of build-up. Anxiety isn't something that comes just at a go, but it's something that builds up over time. And it may build up from prolonged stress. These are some of the things that individuals get to struggle with. Number 2, depression. With depression, one of the things that I've been able to see, especially in the counseling room, has been the elements of a person being hopeless, a person feeling irritable, feeling numbness, feeling a sense of detachment, and this sort of ping pong. It's not following one standard direction, but rather it can move from various directions. This triggers emotional issues and unhealthy or negative emotional responses. Stress and burnout is another key figure. And I know we are all exposed to this. They say that stress in Kenya, we experience almost around 48% of stress in the workplaces. And if you're an entrepreneur, sadly, you will experience stress at around 82%. So that's sort of the bulk figure of every entrepreneur in the ecosystem who experiences stress. And therefore, we see people who experience stress may experience a sense of detachment. They are unable to experience joy, or sadness, and eventually may get to a place of emotional numbness. This is a key issue simply because a lot of people today struggle with this, especially in the work systems, the corporate system, the entrepreneurial ecosystem. As I have mentioned, they will always struggle with this. And I know part of it is motivated because of the economic times, which are hard, right? Part of it may be as a result of you being a working mom, and there are demands from your family or your significant persons, your partner, as well as in the corporate space. You're trying to balance between these two worlds. And at times they feel like they are seeping away and falling through the cracks. And you don't know how to navigate that. And so what we get to see is slowly by slowly, more individuals are becoming stressed. For entrepreneurs, it might be fear of failure, because I just simply can't fail. I have successfully, raised my Series A or Series B, and I need to perform. There is this demand behind my back from the investors. And sometimes it's hard to navigate through these issues. Your parents are probably ailing, and you have a responsibility. You know that black tax that we have? Yes, there is that sense of responsibility. And here you are as a lady, as a professional lady, and the sense of responsibility falls on your back. You are the nurturer, you're the person who brings everyone together. And so we get to see more and more people struggling with stress, getting into a space of chronic stress, looking for unhealthy coping mechanisms to sort of help them feel free. But the truth is they keep on seeping farther and farther away. And these things sort of intermarry. And so you'll see I am probably struggling with stress and burnout and experiencing anxiety, feeling that, the sadness that comes from seeping into depression. And so you see these things sort of are working together. So allow me to journey you through a cycle of anxiety. And this cycle basically helps us understand, our feelings better. And most of us tend to experience this at a particular given time. This cycle starts from a trigger. There is a trigger that brings a thought, all right? For example, it might be a work-related trigger. You're going to do a presentation, and, tech is tech. Like today, tech for us has teched, and we realized, oh, wow, it's quite a challenge. But do I come out of that stronger or remain, rooted in the negativity and the thoughts that may be lingering through that process? For example, I'm doing a pitch and it's going all wrong, and I start shaking. It's natural, it's a body response. I have to get this right. I'm at the risk of losing my job. You're pitching to these investors and everything needs to work out, but it's not working out. That's the day tech has decided it's pulling one on you, a big one. Electricity is also playing that card. Somehow your slides, just like mine, choose to, vamos and go away, and you are left blank and you're wondering what's going on. And therefore you experience emotions. And from these emotions, I have given an example there. You may feel anxiety, you may feel fear, you may feel worry. And this translates to a physical, to your physical self. Some of the things that you get to experience are probably palpitation, increased heart rate, muscle tension, restlessness, change in vision, unaanza tu kuona stars. And yeah, we can also see stars at times. Yeah, ladies, yes. You feel nauseated, you feel so nervous. And therefore, it triggers a behavior response, which would be avoidance, escape, hypervigilance, where you are constantly on the lookout, uh, reassurance seeking. And then this again sort of brings in a trigger. And so this cycle sort of summarizes, some of the things that we experience when it comes to our emotions and how impactful emotions are, not just only to that emotional response where you feel anxious or you feel fearful or you feel sad or you feel numbness. No, it actually brings around a physical manifestation where there is a physical response as well as a behavioral change. And this is why it's important for us to actually address this. This is why it's very important, because for some of us today, you may be on this call and you are feeling like, man, I am an imposter. You'd be like, hey, Mash, I am an imposter. I am not good at what I do, and therefore I wouldn't put my face out there. You may feel like, it's never worked out the very first time I went to this job interview and I wasn't getting the right answers. I went on a freeze mode and I was unable to shake it. And therefore, I just avoid looking for a new job opportunity because I am reminded of where I was at previously. And therefore, it creates a new behavior pattern where you avoid, or you're given responsibility in the workplace and you're told, we actually believe in you. You can deliver this. You are our point person and we're celebrating you. But you feel like, I don't want to be in the limelight. Simply because I once went on stage to welcome a keynote speaker and my heel decided, that's the time, I should anguka nayo. And therefore, I actually angukad nayo and I am just avoiding the stage altogether and I will never, ever stand in front of people. Or it might be just English. Unajua vile English hupotea, and then you realize that you can have stutters and stammers, and you just say, I am escaping all this. Whenever it's time to speak in front of people, I will not speak in front of people. And therefore, parts of your healing journey would include addressing these key things, going back and asking yourself tough questions. Simply because your mind has created a negative cognitive bias of, this particular reaction is tied down to this particular issue or experience. Sometimes you have to actually counteract that and ask yourself, am I really that bad? And part of that would be sitting down with your emotions, sitting down with who you are, and actually validating your thoughts. And therefore, I have an exercise here for us, but I'll come back to it last. Allow me to take you through this slide and say, then what do we do when it comes to our emotions? As I was saying, sit with that feeling, sit down with your thought, and let your emotions exist without judgment. Practice self-compassion. And by self-compassion there is a lot of triggers that come from the social spaces. I was sharing with Rael the other day and telling her, there is a lot of pressure in the social media space, and no one puts, their bad side. I will never put my bad side. I will never say, my marriage is failing on the socials, which should have been the ideal way. But a lot of that has been watered down to us portraying the best side of ourselves and hiding the bad side. So practice self-compassion, celebrate little wins. For some of us who, you feel pressured by things, by how far your peers have gotten. Right now, I want to be, in senior management. Why am I still at the medium, in mid-level management? Be compassionate, celebrate the little wins. Also acknowledge yourself to feel. With us men, this is a hard one, but I'm grateful that ladies, this is a possibility for you, that you are able to acknowledge and allow yourself to feel. And it really, really helps, navigate through those negative emotions. Also learn to name that feeling. Sit down with that feeling and name it. Say, I am feeling anxious. I am feeling anxious because of 1, 2, 3. And create, then you're able to journal out. How am I, going to respond to such similar situation? Practice mindfulness as a coping mechanism. And practicing mindfulness entails being in the present, staying in the present, and celebrating the things that are in your present. Celebrating, your wins and achievements, and trying to see ways of how you will navigate through the challenging situations that are causing these negative emotions. Build a support network, and I have to celebrate FemPower Network, because this is a community that helps you live and thrive in your purpose. So if you're not a member, please subscribe. Nimeona kuna mambo mzuri. And that's one thing I love about you ladies. You have the power to create a support network. And for us men, we don't know. So maybe Rael, the next one, we need to have you ladies talking to us men on how to build support networks. And this creates a support network helps you have open conversation with your colleagues, with your friends, with your family members, over what you're going through. Sometimes by sharing, your feeling, you can get the relevant support and relief. They say that a problem, shared is halfly solved. And I believe that to be true. But also maintaining a lifestyle of a self-care kind of lifestyle, or focusing on self-care. And as we have said, yes, there will be self-care activities on the 14th. Please don't miss out. And self-care goes to the extent of your diet. What are you eating? This is very important, especially in our world today. Nutrition plays a key role. Are you getting adequate sleep? Now, I know this is a tough one for night owls, but you need to get adequate sleep. They say 8 hours of sleep. For some of us, maybe we are thriving or surviving. Actually, we are surviving with 4 hours. Caffeine, alcohol, avoiding this will help you, have a healthy lifestyle. But also things such as exercises. Are you investing your time in exercising regularly? Do you have an exercising schedule? That can help you, fight away the negative emotions by allowing you to experience the feel-good hormones, which come out, especially when we exercise. Or when you're taking a walk in nature and experiencing all the fresh air, it's connecting with the universe. This helps, bring those relaxation mood and a sense of joy and fulfillment. Lastly, for those of us who are in the workplace, there is something called employee assistance programs, which speaks into getting support from a professional. May I challenge you today that you make use of this provision by seeing that professional in your workplace. Probably it might be an external connect. Seek out support. Most of these issues you can never navigate alone. You cannot sweep it under the rug. The truth of the matter is one day it will come out, and one day you have to deal with it. So may I encourage you, for any one of us who has experienced any of the emotional challenges, to seek out professional support, to utilize the employee assistance program provision by your organization. I believe by creating an emotional resiliency, we are able to navigate through issues that would, well, sort of kill us, to a place where we move to a space of thriving, because we are able to address these issues and we are able to live out better and fulfilling lives. So now, if you have a notepad or a place where you can write, I want to pose a question to us and ask, can you list down everything that makes you angry? Everything that makes you angry, as many as you can sort of remember it now. So write them down in one side of the paper, one side of your laptop or phone. And on the other side, I want you to write down the reaction that you always do. What's your reaction? What's the response that you always have anytime that trigger happens? Then I want to give you an assignment that you write down the last part, a reaction that you wish to do. So one part, you trigger anything and everything that makes you angry. It may be, I like beautiful slides. Number two, how do you always respond? And number three, how do you wish to respond? So I want you to, after you've gotten that, to sort of visualize one aspect of that trigger. And therefore, under the guidance of my voice, and if you're in a safe place, you can try this. So papers aside, just focus on the sound of my voice. And I want you to close your eyes and imagine a situation in as much detail as possible that reflects an emotion that you regularly experience. It can be this emotion that we've written down, one situation of an emotion that made you angry. Just remember that experience. How was it? How was it for your body? How did it make you feel? Did your muscle feel tense? Did you feel hot? Did you feel agitated? I want you to just think through your feelings when that situation happens and focus on how your body responds. As you listen to the tune of your body, the muscles, I want you to know that that's your body communicating your emotions back to you. So give yourself permission to acknowledge this and how you felt. I'll pause a disclaimer here and say, if you're feeling, intense feelings right now, please pause. You can take this back again or continue whenever you're ready. And for the rest of us who are still on, I want you to reflect on the emotions that you felt, and I want you to accept them and cooperate with them. Don't fight it. If you felt angry, if you felt your muscles were strained, just cooperate with your body and explore on how it feels. With your eyes still closed, I want you to take a deep breath. Now breathe in, hold, breathe out. Again, breathe in, hold, breathe out. And you can open your eyes. I want you to give yourself a minute or two before identifying any need that arose from that experience. And beneath that sheet of paper, write down the emotions that you experienced. And I want you to imagine you are sharing them with someone who is close and who you can trust. What would you say? And on that piece of paper, just write down. As part of our coping mechanism, one of the things that we will incorporate will be journaling. And so if you can move all these experiences from the practice that we've just done on everything that makes you angry, your normal response and what you wish to do. And this exercise, you can actually take a photo of the screen. I'll try share these slides as well with Rael, and she will share them out. I would love for you to go through this. And what this does, it helps you build resiliency and build a new response to how you respond to situations that sort of seem normal or accustomed to us. And we have, a classic way of response, so that you're able to build a new way of response, so that you're able to be a better version and build better and healthy communities around you. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, or ladies and I, the gentleman, I want to say thank you so much, and I want to pass it back to Rael. If there is any questions, please feel free to drop them on the chat. I would be happy to respond.
Wow, there's actually a question. I don't know if you can see it. You're muted.
Oh, I'm back. I'm back to the chats.
Yeah.
Just give me a minute to check them out.
So the last one, can I read it for you?
Yes.
So Evelyn asked, with up to 400 emotions in a day and a limited number of hours in a day, what tips can you share on how to sit with your feelings? That's the first part of the question. And the second part, if you do it as the emotions come, that could keep you busy the whole day, she would appreciate some tips. So, yeah.
All right, Evelyn, thank you very much for this lovely question. I think this is a lovely question. With almost up to 400 emotions in a day, this was a research done, and these emotions are not basically what we consciously are always aware of. And so there are other minute emotions that sort of come up that we may not even be aware of, that may be affecting us from the unconscious mind. If you remember a while back, as I was sharing, I mentioned that our reactions actually, they don't come from the present moment, and that at times we react in a particular way, but it's out of the things that have been happening, and they have been piling back to our unconscious mind. And one day you just burst out and react in a particular way. And therefore, how do you sit with your feelings? I think primarily I would encourage us to sit with the primary feelings that we get to experience. And I would base this to the six, that Paul Ekman tells us in his theory of the basic emotions. And that's the happiness, sadness, fear, anger, surprise, and disgust. And this is what we mostly sort of name our emotions. And we may name them, sadness, we may name them happiness, we may name them whichever name you would, but you'll realize that they are really, really, it's not a big number of emotions. So with this, then allow yourself to actually experience. And when you're feeling happy, for example, with happiness, may I encourage you to build a routine of gratitude where you look back at the end of the day, like today, write down some of the things that you're really, really grateful for, things that made you happy out of this day. That allows you to redirect your feelings to a space of gratitude rather than anxiety. In your brain, the same space, and I think Dr. Ruth is on the call. In my previous life, I was an MO before I pivoted to psychology. And in the same place where in your brain, where you are affected or triggered by anxiety, there is power in gratitude. It actually gets to affect the same place. And this is after prolonged research by scientists that they were able to come up and realize, oh, actually there is power in thanksgiving, there is power in gratitude. It gets to affect the same space in your brain. So with happy feelings, sit down at the very end of the day, celebrate your little wins, celebrate, be grateful. With emotions that you get to feel which are negative, allow yourself to actually sit down with them. Actually carve out time from your 24 hours, and have a me time each and every day where you will reflect on, feelings of sadness. Where were they coming from? Have a conversation with yourself and ask, where are these feelings coming from? What is the trigger causing me to feel this? And start naming them one by one. I think that would be a better way, rather than, there is these tasks and responsibilities that you already have out of your entire day. And again, you also have to sit with your feelings. I would encourage you, if really need be, and you need to sit with your feelings. For example, you have felt intense anger, then sort of unplug from that environment and take yourself. Unajua ile vile tunaambianga watoto time out, take wewe mwenye jipeleke time out, go spend time alone and sort of breathe in, breathe out, do the exercises that we've just done, breathe, hold, breathe out, hold, and allow yourself to calm down and ask yourself, where is this coming from? I would really encourage each and every one of us ladies to actually have a journal and, hold on to it religiously, where you can actually offload your thoughts and you can come back later on and actually look into it. And so I think that would help out. Point number one, carve out time, create a me time. If you don't have a me time, go back to your work schedule, go back to your day's schedule and carve out your me time. For some, I know are Christians, you have quiet time. And out of that quiet time, you can put one also in the evening and sort of unpack your day, unpack your feelings, and see, a healthy way to navigate through. I hope that helps. Evelyn, you can unmute.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much. That was very helpful.
Karibu sana.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Macharia. But I mean, for me, I have questions. I'm trying to see how I can
Yes,
appear
ma'am.
on the screen so that I show you how emotional I am with these questions. Oh my goodness. All right. So I have a question, and this I'm asking it selfishly because I know a lot of women go through this.
Yep.
You know, you are a doctor, so I am allowed to say this. We have our days of the month, and I know you know what I'm talking about. So how do we manage
Yes, ma'am.
that? Because I mean, with that comes a lot of emotions, and we call it, I don't know if we call it, yeah, we call it PMSing, right? So how do we manage all that
Yes.
with the emotions that are normal for women, and then now that time for the month?
That's a tough one. Because it's a tough one. I think there is power in recognizing or being aware of your emotions, especially during this period of PMSing, right? And there are particular responses that you probably have to particular situations. And the kind of response that you give out, for example, in the workplace, it can actually, bring with it a notice from the HR. I know I haven't used the right HR terms for the HR in the room, poleni sana. But unaweza pata barua. You might get a letter, yeah? Which is not good. And therefore, I think being aware of what would be your triggers, because you might find in situations that even smells trigger you, particular foods trigger you, particular people, mimi nakuanga napenda watu lakini sipendi hivyo sana, at that point, I just don't like the way he speaks. Angalia mdomo yake kwanza akifanya, and being aware of, oh, these are actually my triggers. As crazy as they may sound, they are actually your triggers. Then you sort of redefine how do you respond to them. And part of the challenge today, I would continue to say that, that template we did of anger, let it not just be anger. Go down to other key issues, like in this situation. Look at how do I respond classically to particular things that happen, during my time of the month. How do I respond to them, and how do I wish to respond to them? It may be even to your significant other. And sometimes, we get responses and you're like, sorry, Basi. I'm married, so I can actually comfortably say this. Say sorry. I will try and avoid you for the rest of the week. Yet that's not healthy. That's not sustainable. People will always avoid you at that period of time. The best strategy that you can implement in this time would be understanding your feelings and being the constant regulator of your emotions and feelings. Remember, no one will regulate your emotions. You are the only one with the power to regulate your emotions and feelings.
I love that. I love that. I mean, Dr. Moses, when you're talking, I'm like, hey, this is nice. And you're talking so softly and nice and all that. But let me tell you, and this is my own experience, getting to this place of, being emotional, intelligent, and being self-aware, it's a process. It's not like a one-time thing. So maybe as I wait for people to ask questions, by the way, I'm sorry I did not share this. I was supposed to share when we started, the person who will be the most active in terms of asking questions, reacting, and all that, that's the person who will win the ticket. So we are giving out a free ticket for the event for the 5,000 individual ticket. So whoever is more active compared to other people, that's the person who will win. Sorry, I did not mention that, but I can see some people are already active. So Dr. Moses, back to what I was saying, right? So how do you get there? It's a process, right? So how do you get there? Because it feels good, feeling, especially with what you mentioned, the example that you mentioned today, you had all these slight issues and all that. I mean, if it was me, probably I would be like you, but years ago I wouldn't. I would be so you will actually see it in my face, right? That I am upset, or my day is not going too well. And a lot of women are in this space, right? Where they don't know how to have poker faces because they're going through certain emotions. And I say women because we have been accused of that, but I know men also go through that. So, what's the process of getting to this place of, understanding your emotions, sitting with your emotions, being self-aware? Because the one main thing is around self-awareness. So, how do you get there? Is it therapy? What is it? Is it prayer? Africans, we are told to pray. So, what is it? Yeah.
Rabba Shanda. If you're not Rabba Shandaing, you're not praying.
Yeah.
The controversial one here, by the way, for the Christians in the room, we will have a different session for that. The power and the gifts of the Holy Spirit. I'll direct you to Paul. But back to the question you're raising, and I think it's an important one. Becoming self-aware and building, resiliency for mental health issues, it's a journey. It's not a one-day destination, but a journey. And the best approach that I would encourage for us on the call today would be getting a therapist. Allow me to pick a drum for our people, but we help individuals professionally to navigate through particular issues that they may experience and help them find the relevant coping mechanisms to build resiliency. Why am I saying this? It's simply because there are particular conditionings that we were already conditioned as Africans. And it's good. There are some things that are good that worked out. Our parents did the best job with the little resources they had in the best way they knew how. But for some of us on this call today, we may be experiencing father wounds. Even worse, we may be experiencing mother wounds, and you are constantly self-doubting. Father wounds, sort of, you're trying to please others so that you get validation. With mother wounds, it's you doubt yourself. And other things that we may have been exposed to from our cultures. My suggestion to us would be on board on a therapy service. Get a therapist. I know we have Team Sidai on the call, and there are amazing therapists from this platform who work there, but also in Nairobi, in Kenya at large, I know in Uganda as well, we have therapists who are professional and who can help you navigate through this process. By you journeying alone, you will not find, the kind of result that you're looking for. Number two is the sense of community. And I think I touched base and I was echoing and celebrating FEMPA. Are you having a community, or is your community on the socials? In our generation today, we are sort of moving away from physical community to a social media sort of community where I am lied to by the number of followers that I have, on my socials. And that would give you a sense, a temporary relief or validation to feel like I have a community, but you don't have a community. Get a tangible community where you can go and be vulnerable to, where you can find a shoulder to cry on and people to help you navigate through various issues. The truth of the matter is there is nothing new under the sun. Whatever I'm going through, probably you have gone through. Whatever you're going through, someone else has already gone through. So allow yourself to have that emotional support. But also remember, it is a process. It's not a journey. You may start today. I always tell people who are coming for therapy, therapy is also a journey with ups and downs. I will, give you coping mechanisms and tools to implement. And then after 3 days, you feel like you're down the drain. It's not working, and you feel like, running away from therapy. Truth of the matter is, keep on, push on. Then you'll realize, oh, I'm back up again and feeling good. I'm thriving. And it's just motions, but it's a relationship. And when you look back, you're able to see that I'm gaining tools and coping mechanisms that if I am to go back in a particular situation, I can handle it better. If I feel agitated, I have this anger issue every time it's during my periods, then I am able to manage myself better. I know how I have this ritual that I do that help react sasa. When people talk to me, kitambo, I would, throw words. Nowadays, I, swallow some saliva and take a minute before I quickly respond. And what that helps you do is you realize that the response that you would have done versus the response that you've given, it's totally different because you have taken a minute to sort of breathe and you may respond in a better way. So it's a process. I agree with you, Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much to unpack, and I know we don't have time today, and that's why, ladies, you need to come on the 14th of September. There's a lot more we're going to be talking about, and we'll have one-on-ones with the therapist. Dr. Moses will be there. So man, there are so many questions that I have personally, and I know so many women have. But because of time, let me ask the last question, and then we'll announce the person who's getting the ticket to the event. So Caroline is asking, what can you say about jealousy?
Right. Good question as well. I think jealousy is an emotional response to start with. And it always leads people to a place of feeling insecure, feeling fear, anxiety as well. And for ladies, it might be chances are this question comes because there is a person, kuna mtu mahali ama kitu. It's two things. It's either a thing or a person. And all this obviously entails a person. And so I might feel jealous because, my neighbor has just gotten a new car. I might feel jealous because, I saw this couple that I religiously follow on socials, going to Dubai and other areas. And to be honest, currently, where my pocket is versus my goals, as they match up, there is a joke that says a song saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and there was a joke coming down from 8, coming down, how your account goes down. Maybe your account is at, 2, 3, 4, hapo kidogo, ama 1, 2, 3. The truth of the matter is jealousy just puts unnecessary pressure on you. And you need to ask yourself some tough questions because it brings you to a place of insecurity, it brings you to a place of fear, it brings you to a place of anxiety. It causes you to experience strained relationships where you are not able to relate with, your significant other in the best way possible because there is this pressure that you're mounting on them. For example, if it's this couple that went to Dubai and, I'm pushing pressure to my partner that, you need to take me to Dubai and his pocket can only take me to Dubai, putting and mounting up unnecessary pressure, it's not right. And therefore, yes, it causes emotional distress. Yes, you need to actually ask yourself, why am I getting jealous? Because you need to get to that place of the why, the question mark, the why. When you go down to the root cause, you'll find either it's because I want to flex like the rest of the human beings. Nataka tu ni flex, nionekane, ni post picha mzuri kwa socials, nionekane, niko mbele. Or my selfish drive and ambition, where I want to get the same car as the first example of this neighbor. I want to get the same kind of car so that, pia wao wanione mimi ni mtu kwa society. Watanijuaje? All right. So it is an emotional response. It causes emotional distress, which is not necessary. If you are jealous, because and there's some jealousy which by the way they're validated. Sitaki kuinvalidate. There are some that are validated. For example, in a relationship, your partner is giving more attention to this other human being who's not you, and you're feeling jealous because nje yeye ni mtu wa community, kija ndani hamuna relations, you'd desire him to be the same person just like outside. The best thing is actually sitting down and having communication, healthy communication, and speaking out your thoughts. Don't react, because you see, with jealousy, after I'm feeling jealous, I react in a particular way. I start behaving in a particular way. Unajua, I am feeling jealous because you're spending more time with your boys and like me, so sikupiki. Tuone kama utajipikia. Sikufutii viatu. In fact, you don't even know where the socks are because you throw one here and the other one there, right? I am the one who gathers them. So this time around, your favorite socks, you're not getting them. And what you end up doing is you end up causing a relational strife. You end up bringing unnecessary fears because you are the same person who will start fearing, he wants to break away with me. And these are things that happen. And they just don't happen only in relationships, they happen even in marriage. It's something that cuts across. So with jealousy, communicate, use your words. Ask yourself, why am I feeling this? And if it's to a partner, communicate, say, hey, I don't like, we'll coin it better. You should come on the 14th. I'll be giving examples of how we coined this thing, how you coin your communication. You coin it better and present in a way that it's collaborative, in a way that is honoring and respectful. But again, how's the status of your heart? Are you doing it as a way of reacting so that you're able to show off, or it's something, a deep-seated issue that you're trying to prove to yourself? All right. And this is a big issue. I think, Rael, this is a big issue, especially when we look into even our parenting styles. For the ones who are parents here, sometimes it's not us adults who parent these children. We'll find it's a 7-year-old you or a 10-year-old you parenting another baby, saying, my son or my daughter, hata pitia ile maisha nilipitia. Mtoto anania naendaga nini, but even mine will go. And then you realize you are mounting to yourself unnecessary pressure. You're being jealous, yet you could enjoy life with the resources that you have, with the everyday blessings that you have. And I always tell people, as long as you have, the bare minimum, the basic needs, you're doing better than most people in the world. All right. So I hope I have answered you and expounded a little bit more, Caroline.
We, Dr. Moses, umekuwa personal, but I love it.
Ni important tukue personal kwa sababu unajua ubaya maishani atuambianangi ukweli.
It's true.
That's the problem. We need to just tell each other the truth.
No, that's true.
And I think we need to have that session. You remember that session? Of what women want versus what men want. And then we'll come with our truth. Yeah, we'll come with our truth, and you ladies also come with your truth as well.
That's true. And let me tell you, if anything that Dr. Moses has shared has triggered you, kindly come on the 14th, because there's a lot to unpack. And if you have your friends who you know are going through certain challenges with, everything that has been talked about, and even others, bring them along. There's a package for 5 people, so please come along. So before I announce the winners, or the winner, sorry, of today, I actually want to hear how this session has impacted you. So I'm just going to do a short poll. It's very short. It's one word. So just think about what this session has done for you, and then just click on that particular feeling. Because today we are talking about feelings. Yeah. So it should be on your screen. Please tell me what you felt about this session. Did you feel rejuvenated? Did you feel excited that at least now you're getting to understand yourself? Do you feel relaxed? Like, the way Dr. Moses is talking like a therapist, you feel like you've sat on that, that couch for therapists, that one. If that's what you felt, let us know. And if you didn't even feel anything, it's fine, right? We know it's a Thursday, it's cold. It's totally okay. Yeah, yeah. But Dr. Moses, let me tell you, what you've shared really awesome stuff, pure gold. And in Africa, we've not gotten to a point where we share such things openly. And I hope we really get there. And I'm glad that you're a man. We need to understand whether men have emotions as well, because some of us in our houses, we really struggle. And I know a lot of women can relate to this. So we really need to understand men as well. So I agree with you. Let's do the what women want and what men want versus what men want. And we should talk about emotions, because tunaambiwangwa we are too emotional. But I think men are also equally as emotional. Ladies, don't you agree? I know they do. Yeah, I know they do.
Experiencing emotional damage.
Yeah.
Then we
Awesome.
go to unhealthy places to unbank.
Yes, exactly. So I see a lot of people were rejuvenated. So thank you so much. This is a testament, Dr. Moses, obviously, to what you've shared. And ladies, as I said, 14th, there is a whole day set out for you. So feel free to come. We have lunch, we have refreshments, we have exercises, we have conversations like this. It's an open conversation. It's not like a conference where you go and get a lot of theoretical knowledge. It's very practical. So we hope to see you there. Thank you, Dr. Moses. Thank you.